And I have small wrists. The handcuffs were on so tight, both my hands were bruised, and my hands went numb.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And, I had those handcuffs on for, I don't even know how long. It seemed like an eternity.
Oh, my God.
And, and then was taken to the police station for booking, and, finally that whole ordeal ended about 3 o'clock in the morning when I was released. So I, then went back to the hotel to sleep for a while.
Yeah.
And then I got a call at 5 in the morning that there were people back on the property again.
Oh, dear.
So I eventually got back to the property probably about 8 o'clock. I mean, in the midst of about 20 phone calls from, they're doing this on the property, they're doing that on the property, and they're vandalizing. And so we called the police and, said, this has got to stop. And anyway, I got over to the scene. I got over to the property probably about 8 o'clock in the morning, and when I got there, then an officer was there, and she said, "You can't go on the property." And I said, "I have every right to be on this property. Here's the lease." They advertised. So then what the tenant did is to dispose of everything in the store. I mean, they somehow got the word out to the entire community that everybody should come and buy all the fixtures, equipment, dishes, you name it. Everything in the store was for sale.
Oh.
So there was just this mass of people flooding to the property to essentially pillage and strip the store.
Yeah.
So there's just all these people in and out, pulling up with trucks and trailers. The employees are hauling stuff out the back door, chairs and tables and refrigerators and stoves. I mean, this was a large restaurant. I mean, we're talking a restaurant that could probably seat, I don't even know exactly what its capacity is, probably 500 people. I mean, it's a large place.
Yes.
So there obviously was a lot of equipment, a lot of tables, chairs, normal restaurant stuff.
Yeah.
So anyway, I got on the scene. The police officer shows up, and she said, "You're not allowed on the property." And I said, "Well, here's my lease. There's nothing in, their lease was terminated, first of all. And even if their lease wasn't terminated, I still certainly am, at least in the position of any member of the public. And if any member of the public can be here buying stuff from this restaurant, then I certainly have a right to be here."
As the owner of the restaurant.
Right.
As the owner of the property. And she said, well, she looked at the lease, went back and forth, then she walked inside the restaurant with me. And, I talked to the manager there for a little while, and she said, "Oh, yes, they're going to sell everything they have in the store. They're hauling everything out." So we then, attempted to solicit the help of the police to stop the pillaging.
This is after you were arrested?
This was after I was arrested.
After she was out the next day.
Oh, my God.
I got a call about 8 in the morning from a friend of mine saying, "You better get down there because, they're starting to take everything out of the store, and the police are aiding and abetting it." So I went down there with my camera and started taking pictures. Well, Naomi can continue with her story, but I was there, a lot of the day, too, just taking pictures, so I got all this on film.
Okay.
So then, we went into the store, and, I was kind of looked around. I mean, I could see they had every intention of, they had sawzalls and drills. They were cutting stuff down, unscrewing stuff. I mean, sawing stuff off. I mean, it was bad.
Yes.
So then, I was in there. Then I went out to kind of see what was going out the back doors. The place has many doors, and they were hauling out of every door.
Oh, my goodness.
I mean, it was mass chaos in there. There was people in and out. There was employees, and there were just members of the general public who were just hauling stuff right out the door and loading it in their vehicles.
Oh.
I mean, it was like the free-for-all.
Yeah.
And
scavengers.
I think they were actually, the tables and chairs. I mean, that stuff was in good condition, and they were selling them. From what these other people told me, they were being sold for like $5 a piece.
Oh, my goodness.
And so, naturally, people are coming with their big trailers, and loading up, 20, 30 tables apiece and, piles of chairs.
Well, I saw a trailer with, about a $10,000 to $12,000 refrigerator freezer. Was about 7-8 feet high, and ovens and one man bought an ice cream cone machine that normally retails for about $7,000 or $8,000. He bought it for $500. He said. So they were just getting all this stuff at pennies on the dollar and just draining the store, taking everything out of the store. It was incredible. And the police were there watching, making sure that the Naomi and any kind of SIST people didn't get in their way.
Yeah, well, the police were making sure that the scavengers could scavenge,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Unabated,
Yes. Oh, my God.
I've never seen anything like this in my life. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
So, myself and a couple other SIST employees were there. At that point, we could do nothing. The police would not intervene. I couldn't get a court order quick enough to stop it.
Right.
So the only thing I could do was document it. So I had a couple employees there that were taking pictures.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then the restaurant employees called the police on us, and the police chief himself, whose name is Ed Whalen, showed up and ordered me off the property.
Oh, dear.
And I said, we have a lease. We own this property. Every member of the public is being allowed on this property. I have a right to be on my own property.
You have a legal right.
And, but he would listen to nothing. And he said, this is your final warning, get off the property. Then he had a bunch of officers surround me and said, if you don't get off the property this minute, then you're under arrest.
Oh, gee.
So then, I got off the property and went and stood on the sidewalk.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we had to stay the entire day while we watched as the store was totally stripped and gutted. And, we were harassed the entire day by these employees, calling us names, making faces, just doing terrible things. And then, while we're standing there taking pictures of, hundreds of thousands of dollars walking out of the door.
Out of the door, yeah.
The sinks, and if it was stuff that they couldn't sell fast enough, they threw it out the back door, rolled it, and, went in the garbage. The restaurant had booze. Those things were totally disassembled. They unscrewed them. The things came out in pieces, went on a trailer, and were hauled away.
Yeah.
And throughout the day, the police were on the scene repeatedly, at least a dozen times.
Well, it's almost as if the police were in on this whole thing. Why, since you're, the legal owner, the CEO, you've got a lease, you have gone through the legal process to, get rid of the tenants. See, there's something wrong with the police.
There's definitely something wrong with this picture.
Oh, yeah.
And
oh my gosh.
I've never had an experience of being arrested before, and I've never had an experience of the police being so unfair. So one of my employees, throughout the process of the day, was accused of calling. The Ponderosa employees were there all day, taunting, harassing, calling names. And, we're trying to take pictures, so then they put up these big tarps so we couldn't see what they're hauling out the back door.
Oh, my God.
It was